We'll start with you, Coop.
I'm Coop and I'm playing Sunny.
I'm Kylie and I'm playing Miss Pruitt and Miss Chatterley.
I'm Kaylin and I'm playing Miss Pryor.
I'm Emilia and I'm playing Tatler. I'm Hope and I'm playing Maud Griggs.
I'm MK and I'm playing Emily James.
I'm AJ and I'm playing Mr. Dorsett.
I'm Trina and I'm the clerk of pool.
There's two scenes. The one scene will be in the cave where they're kidnapped and take Emily Jane to. And then the other scene is like out on the street where the three ladies will be talking to each other. Okay? Huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 5 scenes, right. Yes. Okay.
Easy now, Sonny. Bring her in easy. She's just a little girl. Remember that. Probably scared of that poor little thing. What happened, Sonny?
She kicked me, Ma, she kicked me, right in the shin. And then she bent over and came biting at me like a nanny goat. Knocked the wind clear out of me. And I'll tell you plain, Ma, I don't want no more to do with that kid. She ain't human.
Oh no, that ain't true. She looked like a sweet little thing to me.
Sweet, my aching shin bone. She's a regular wild Indian if I ever saw one. And she's on the war path. If I hadn't tied her to a tree, she'd have murdered me for sure.
Tied her to a tree. Now, what'd you go and do a thing like that for a big brute like you? Now, you just go and tie that poor little keg right now and bring her out here. Right
Be
now.
quick about it.
And be quick about it.
But Ma,
Right now. I didn't raise you to be no bully. We may be kidnappers, but we ain't mean ones.
maybe we ought to try some other kid. We could just bring this one home and move on to some other town and...
How many times do I have to tell you, Sonny? Always finish what you start. That's what gets a body ahead in this world. Now we picked little Emily Jane Dorsett out special because she's the richest little girl in the whole county. We'll clear 2,000 easy, and
So you just in time.
so you just go and tie that poor little tyke and bring her up here. Probably scared of that poor little thing.
No shame, Ma, she just ain't to the gag yet, that's all.
Gag! What kind-hearted, decent kidnappers would gag a child? Now you just go get that child and bring her up here, and I'll fix her something hot to eat. Here, I'll calm down. Mark my words.
I'll do my best, Ma, but I hate to think of the rest when that there gag comes off. Ah! Yeah.
What happened, Sonny? Did you have an accident?
It was no accident, Ma. She bit me on purpose. Look, you can see tooth marks.
Land's sake, boy, little bitty bite never hurt nobody. Come on up here, sweetie. Sonny here wouldn't harm a flea.
Okay. Take that, and that, and that. Nobody gags in my red teeth. The terror of the Western Plains. And lives to tell the tale? No, sir. Take that, and that. Say, am I kidnapped?
Well, we don't like to use that exact word. Let's just say we borrowed you for a bit until something or other turns up.
What for? Gee, I don't want to go home. I've always wanted to be stolen by bandits, but we don't get too many around here. Nothing exciting ever happens in this old town. Hey, a real robber's cave. You got any treasure in there?
No, just some supplies. We're gonna fix it up real nice and cozy. And
No treasure? I thought all robbers have treasure. Jewels and gold and stuff like that. Or are we gonna go out to town and heist the bank? Hey, is that it? Are we gonna go out robbing? Can I come? Say, my pa's the president of the bank, and I know where he keeps the key. If you want me to, I could.
sakes no, child. Me and Sonny ain't no common thieves. Poor Sonny here just happens to be out of work. And for now, and we thought it might be nice to camp out for the summer months. Just till something or other turns up.
Like Ransome, huh? Listen, I bet you can get a whole lot out of my pa. He's got piles of money. But don't write that letter yet, will ya? I've never camped out my whole life. We're gonna live in a real hideout.
Not for long.
Not for long, Emily Jane. I'm sure your pa will want you back right away. We'll write the letter and then...
I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. Listen, I was gonna run away from home anyhow one of these days. You know what they make me do? They make me take piano lessons, and they make me go to school, and they won't let me have a dog, and they make me get dressed up on Sundays, and I even have a governess, and she's a prune. Say, you got any blankets in that cave?
Why, sure we do. Not taking a chill, are ya?
Me? I've never taken a chill my whole life. I just want to play Indians, that's all. I'll be Red Chief, Sonny can be Old Hank, the trapper, and I'll scalp him. And at sunset, he'll be burned at the stake. And you can be Old Snake Eye, the spy, and
I can't play right now, Emily Jane. I had to take the buggy back to the horse and buggy back to town.
I'll take it, Ma. I'll take it.
No, Sonny, you stay here and play Indians with Emily Jane.
Red Chief, call me Red Chief.
Red Chief, you stay here and play Indians with the child. And keep the child from being homesick. I want to scout around the town to see what they're saying.
Boy, I bet they're worried. I bet everybody in town's talking about me. We've never had a kidnapping in our town before. I bet the sheriff's got a posse and everything.
More than likely. But we got a good, safe hideaway here. And you two gather some firewood while I'm gone. We'll want a good hot fire.
Sure we will. I have to burn Old Hank the Trapper at the stake. Remember?
That sounds like fun. I'm sure Sonny will love playing Indians with you. And I'll be back as soon as I know what's going on down there. And I bet you the whole town's buzzing by now.
See you later, Snake Eye and Hank. Prepare to meet your doom.
So there I was, just sitting out on the front porch, shelling peas and minding my own business. And who do you think I saw come out of Widow Simpson's house? Who? Promise not to tell?
Not a living soul. You know me, Sarah May. Who was it?
Lawyer Brown, that's who.
No!
Sure as you're alive, that's who it was. All spiffied up in his Sunday clothes and everything. And he had kind of a sneaky look on his face, too. And he went right past White House without so much as a howdy do.
Well, I never. Do you suppose they're keeping company? Sakes alive. It ain't been more than a year since Elmer Simpson passed away.
Joan, I know it, but that Elsie Simpson was never much of 1% quiet. They say she even showed up at the square dance they had down at Spindle Holler, all gussied up, fit to kill.
Imagine. At her age.
But that ain't the worst.
No?
Now, don't breathe this to a soul.
My lips are sealed. Tighter in the clam.
It's about that grown daughter of hers, Carrie Lou.
No.
You know she's been running around with that wild Murchison boy?
No, not the Murchison boy.
I happen to know it for a fact, and oh dear, I really oughtn't to tell.
Whisper, just whisper.
Well, now, it was Thursday evening, very late. I just happened to be looking out my window, getting a breath of fresh air, and then...
No. You don't mean it. Not really. Well, I never.
Oh, girls, I'm so glad I found you. Have you heard the news?
What news?
It's about the little Dorset girl, Emily Jane. They think she's been kidnapped.
I heard that this morning down at the yard goods store. Nothing to it if you ask me. No kidnapper in his right mind would go near that child.
Just ran off and got herself lost, most likely. And I, for one, don't miss her one bit.
That ain't nice, Harriet. But what a thing to say about a poor motherless child.
Well, I don't. Not after what she did to my poor little Roger last week.
What'd she do?
Well, she was playing Indian. That's what Roger said. And she plain scalped the child. That's what she did. Took up a whole handful of them beautiful girls and lopped them right off.
And
that
then,
poor little tyke looks like a plucked chicken.
and then she painted my little Mary Ellen's face up with what she called war paint. But it must have been the red lead they use on farms, because I was days getting it off. Poor Mary Ellen, she's as pink as a ripe cherry.
Good riddance. That's what I'd say.
That ain't nice, Harriet, but I know what you mean. Maybe a day or two in the woods will calm that child down a bit.
And we'll have a spell of peace and quiet.
Anybody out looking?
Just the governess, that's what they say. Poor soul, she spends half her life hunting down that child.
Did Mr. Dorset tell the sheriff?
Oh, sure, but it's only been a day now. And since there hasn't been a ransom note, they don't figure it's a kidnapping. But I do.
Why?
Well, because,
Because nothing exciting ever happens in this town. That's why. It's high time we have something like kidnapping to talk about. Nothing like a bit of scandal to stir the blood. That's what I always say.
Guess you haven't heard about Kaylin Simpson, have you?
No, what happened?
Well, it seems that she and that Murchison boy.
The Murchison boy?
Shh! Not so loud. Seems they was out for a stroll in the moonlight last Thursday night, and just as they got to the corner of Elm and Main, they...
No! You don't mean it. Not really. Well, I never.
Stop, cursed paleface! How dare you enter the camp with a red chief? Terror of the Western Plains?
Hi there, kids. I see you're having a good time. Let's untie him now, Emily Jane, shall we?
It's sunset. Red chiefs say when sunset comes, wicked trapper must be burned at the stake. Stand back, paleface.
Now look here, Emily Jane. Don't you go fooling around with my grades. I have some business to talk over with Sonny.
Oh well, red chiefs say never mind the sunset. Captain will burn at sunrise instead. What's for supper?
Never you mind about what's for supper. Just quiet first, all. Me and Sonny have got some business to talk over.
Shooting your ball.
6 lives, Sonny. What happened? You're pretty near as bald as an old turkey.
She's got me, Ma. She scouted me. Took a penknife and whacked a whole bunch of hair off. And then she was gonna burn me at the stake.
Oh, now, Sonny, that ain't true. She was just playing make-believe. You weren't going to do any harm, were you, Emily Jane?
Red chief mean what red chief say. It's sunny my eyes come.
Now, look here, child. Don't go fooling around with my grades. Sonny and me, we got some business to do. Now, let that boy go. There'll be no supper for you.
Yo, was everybody out looking? Did they get a posse? Are we gonna have to make a getaway?
Don't look that way, Emily Jane. There wasn't a whole lot of commotion going on down that way.
Leastwise, not yet.
Leastwise, not yet. But after Pop gets this here letter, then you can be. This here letter, there'll be some ruckus. You can count on it. Now, here's what my plan is. I'll sneak down there after it gets dark, slip the letter under the old man Dorset's door, and then run for it. After that,
Well, wait.
Miss Pruitt.
Emily Jane, Emily Jane, Emily Jane Dorset.
who in tarnation is that?
Oh, prune face. That's who. My governess. Boy, she never lets me have any fun. I can't even get myself kidnapped without her pestering.
What are they gonna do, Ma? If she spots us, she'll run down and tell the sheriff. And they'll all be after us saying, gee, Ma, we was gonna go straight right after this. Isn't that what we decided?
That's right, Sonny. Just as soon as we had enough cash, we were planning on pulling off that phony real estate scheme. We was planning for the next week. After that, we can settle right down and become respectable at least for the next few weeks. In the meantime, I'll reckon we'll have to kidnap her too.
Oh,
Yeah.
shucks. What do we have to go kidnap old prune face for? She'll ruin everything.
Because if we don't, she'll go babbling all over town and she'll tell the sheriff in no time. Now, Sonny, you just go grab her.
Ah, gee, Ma, I'm all black and blue now. What if she fights back the way the kid did?
She won't. She's a scaredy cat. You know what I did last week? I put a frog in her bed, a great big slimy wiggly one. And the minute it touched her toe.
Emily Jane, Emily Jane.
Now, that was plain mean, Emily Jane.
Jane, what'd you go and do a thing like that for?
Just to liven her up some, all she does is read and play piano and boring stuff like that. She's a prune.
Well, Sonny, the way I look at it, if she's want to be scared out of her wits by a little bitty frog, she ought to think that at the sight of a full-grown man coming out of the woods at her. So talk to her quiet like. I was never much of a hand with fainting.
Here she is. Hey, Miss Pruitt, here I am. Catch me if you can.
There you are, you naughty. There you are, you naughty child. Do you know I've been looking for you all day? How dare you go off and hide like this? How dare you?
I'm not hiding. I'm kidnapped.
You're what?
Kidnapped, and you will be too. And you know what? You can be the Indian maiden who betrays a terrible red chief. And after I burn Hank the Trapper at the stake.
Now, hold on.
That's enough of that nonsense.
That's enough of that nonsense, young lady. You know, I never was one for you to tell lies, even if you're just playing pretend.
See, I have kidnapped.
Oh. See, I am kidnapped. And you better come quiet. There's no telling what they'll do. You know what they did to me? They tied me to a tree and then they...
Now, hold on there, Emily. We didn't do one bit of harm to you. Though I must say, you did a pretty good job on Sonny here.
Ah, shucks, that's all right. Kids will be kids, that's what I always say.
Emily Jane can be quite difficult. I know that. Suppose I take her off your hands and we'll just go along home now.
But we're kidnapped and we can't go. So there.
That's right, ma'am. We're holding the child for ransom. But as soon as Emily Jane's paw plays up, you can go on your way safe and sound.
I mean, I'm kidnapped too.
Afraid so, ma'am. But the very minute Emily Jane's paw pays up,
How much are you asking?
well, we haven't sat down and thought about it, but we were planning about 2,000.
Don't you think? Ow! That's a bit high.
Sonny, Ebenezer Dorsey.
Ebenezer Dorsey's pretty stingy, that's what I've heard. And suppose he won't pay, we'd be stuck with a kid for life. Ow.
Emily Jane say that would be great.
Say, that would be great. Sonny and me can be Indians forever. And you know what? But next time, I'm not going to be Indians. I'm going to be lone black scout and ride to the stockade to warn settlers that the Indians are coming. And Sonny can be my trusty horse. And Miss Pruitt can be an Indian brave. And we'll shoot her and everything.
I think 1,000 would be far more reasonable.
Maybe 500.
Maybe 500. 500 sounds like enough to me.
Now, Sonny, I've always learned you to stick to things, haven't I? And we was
We decided.
planning on, we decided on $2,000. And well, suppose we tried for 1,500.
1,000 sounds like...
We can try more.
We can try, Ma. Let's be ready to lower it if the old man wants to narrow it down a bit. I don't like this here kidnapping business. I don't think it's my proper line of work.
I'm glad to hear you say that, sir. The road of life is full of wrong turnings, and only an honest man knows which fork in the crossroads to take when the night is darkest.
Say, that's right pretty. Can't say as I know what you mean by it, but it sure is a pretty way to say it.
Thank you. I always have had rather a way with words.
Maybe you can help me with this letter here. I was never much of a hand with that stuff myself.
But I couldn't write the ransom note. I'm kidnapped myself.
Yeah, she's right, Ma. And plus, we won't have to get this nice lady into any trouble. You're right, Ma. Make it sound like we mean business.
All right, Sonny, I think I can handle it. Here's how we start. Dear Ebenezer Dorset, S.
S? What incarnation is that?
That is quite correct. It stands for Esquire, which means
That anyone who has an S behind their name is rich. So you better call me that too. Emily Jane Dorset, S.
Seems I've got the beginning right then. Dear Ebenezer Dorset, S. We have your helpless child.
Ah,
We have your helpless child, Emily Jane, and we're holding her for ransom. We demand payment of $2,000.
1,500, Ma. 1,500.
$1,500. Well, come to think of it, maybe 1,000's enough. After all, we demand payment
Hey, if you make it too small, I'll have to go home, and I don't want to go home.
$1,000 available by person. In person by the above mentioned Ebenezer Dorset S. At Hallett's Cave on Summit Mountain previous to.
Oh, I beg your pardon, but I believe prior to is the correct phrase.
Prior to, yep, that does sound a mite better. Thank you kindly. Prior to 11 p.m.
Would you possibly make it earlier? Say 8. My feet are killing.
Much obliged. My bunions have been kicking something up awful lately. And I wouldn't mind a night's rest myself. 8 p.m. If you do not show up with the proper sum of cash money, you will, at this exact here hour, you will never see your child again. Fairly truly, yours, True Desperados. How does that sound?
Hey, I made that up, didn't I? Desperados is what I'll call you. Say, I'm gonna be lots of help to you too. Hey, if my pa doesn't pay up, next time we can be the 3 Desperados and go out kidnapping together. Wouldn't that be fun?
I can stay forever.
I can stay forever. Hey, can I borrow your hat, Sonny?
What for?
Don't worry. Just don't go anywhere till I get back.
Yeah. I think we better be getting ready.
I think we better be getting ready, Ma. There's no telling what that child has in mind this time.
Just some foolish stress of game, more than likely. Now you just sit quiet till I get back.
Alone?
Alone? Just the 2 of us?
Why, sure, Sonny. It's about time you learn a thing or two about courting.
And then maybe you can
Why,
say-
sure, Sonny. There's a nice moon out. Maybe Miss Pruitt here might be inspired to tell you some more pretty things. Like that they're saying about crossroads. And maybe you can say some pretty things to her.
Ah, gee, Ma. That's something you never did learn me. Maybe I ought to escort you down the mountain. It ain't wise for a lady to be alone by herself, even a kidnapping lady.
Oh, please don't leave me, Sonny. I've never been alone at night before. And who knows what kind of awful people could be out here. The world full of desperados and, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Yeah, that's all right, ma'am. No desperado will bother you while I'm around, that's for sure. And Ma here, she knows her way down the mountain. She'll be just fine.
That's more like it's about time you learn a thing or two about courting.
I'll be on
No, I'll be on my way, and before you know it, old man Dorset will be up here to get his little girl. And
We'll be rich. We'll have $1,000 plus the money I saved from that last job.
Yippee! Yowie! I'm Lone Black Scout, and I'm out for blood. Just as soon as I capture me a wild horse, I'll be off to the stockade to warn the settlers that the Indians are coming. Yippee! Yowie!
500, Ma. Make it 500.
you're right, Sonny. Don't pay me an extra degree. That's what I always say. 500 tops.
Halt, Hesky Redskin! Halt, or I'll run you through with my bayonet. I do not have one of those.
You have it in your hand right there.
My, that was a right nice vegetable. Don't know when I ever ate so much though. That plum pie was just about the best I've ever had.
I didn't touch it. Goodness, didn't you know who brought it? Elsie Simpson. That's who. And everybody knows she ain't never had a way with cooking. No telling what she might have put into it.
My, I'm gonna be indigestible all night long. But I didn't even notice I was too busy looking at what she was wearing. I didn't even notice what she brought. Did you see that dress with all them there flouncy ribbons and bows? A body would think she's trying to look 16.
She's a good 40 if she's a date. Everybody knows that.
Everybody except Lawyer Brown looked like a lovesick puppy, didn't he?
Plumb daft over that foolish woman. That's the truth. Did you know he took her for a stroll out back while the party was still going on? No. I happen to know it for a fact. Stepped out on the back porch for a breath of air myself, and really, I oughtn't to tell.
What? What happened?
Now, I really shouldn't let this get around. Promise not to tell?
Not a living soul.
So you know the big old maple tree next door with the hammock slung under it? Well, the 2 of them.
No. Not really. You don't mean it. Well, I never.
Wait for me, girls. Wait for me. Just wait. Here. Here, what?
What?
It's about the little Dorset girl, Emily Jane.
Oh, I thought it was going to be something.
Oh, I thought it was going to be something about Elsie. Dorsey.
Or maybe Carrie Lou.
But it's a real kidnapping. Isn't that exciting? Mr. Dorsey got the ransom note this very evening.
How did you know?
I heard it from Rose Havenmeyer, and she heard it from Evelyn Stubbins. And you know, she has the same cleaning lady as Mr. Dorsey. And she asked her and the cleaning lady.
What? What did it say? How much are they asking?
I'm not exactly sure. It was either 500 or 5,000. I was never good with figures. I'm not sure which.
It has to be 5,000. 500 ain't nothing. At least not to Ebenezer Dorset. Imagine $5,000.
Will he pay, do you think?
Well, he has to. The note said that if he didn't, he would never see his child again. Imagine.
But the sheriff. Is that what
Oh,
the sheriff said?
But the sheriff said he ought to think it over.
Think it over? How can he? When his own child is in danger.
You know how the sheriff.
You know how the sheriff is. He never did forgive Emily Jane for unhitching his buggy and letting it roll clear down Front Street into the river. I think he'd have murdered her on the spot. Her governess had come along and dragged her home. Guess he's just in no hurry to have her back in town. That's all. But of course, he's got his duties to the law. I guess sooner or later. Oh, look, girls. Look who's coming. Just pretend you didn't hear anything. It's supposed to be a secret.
Who's coming? Is it Justin Bieber? I don't see Justin Bieber.
Evening, Mr. Dorset.
Evening, ladies.
I understand you're having a lot of trouble, Mr. Dorsey.
Might. Nothing old plain old horse sense can't fix.
Is there anything we can help you with?
No, it's kind of a private matter between me and the sheriff. And if you excuse me, I gotta be getting down to his office right now.
You always were a marvel of business doing, Mr. Dorset. That's what everybody says. I'm sure she'll be. I'm sure everything will turn out fine.
Evening, lady.
Poor man. He real grown up, didn't he? Imagine his own child kidnapped.
And held for ransom by who knows what sort of awful people. Poor little Tyke is just scared to death, I bet.
Poor little tyke. Crying our eyes out, most likely.
Poor little tyke.
Okay, giddy up, giddy up.
Lexi Blackscarf, I don't think I can make it. My name's a plumb worn out.
Then I'll have to shoot you, put you out of your misery. Sorry, old paint.
On second thought, I think I can make it. Just stop moving me with that there rope, huh?
Faster, old paint, faster. The settlers will be murdered in their beds if they don't reach the stockade in time. Just another 100 miles. Whoa there, old paint, whoa. I see a marauding Indian out there lying in ambush in the bush.
Don't leave me, Emily Jane. No cause for alarm.
Wait long, Black Scout, that ain't no Indian. That's one of them sellers for sure. Now don't you dare lay a hand on my mom.
Sakes alive, this child's a wild one. Are you hurt, Sonny? Where are you on your knees?
I'm not hurt. She was riding me to the stockade. 100 miles and another 100 miles to go, not bearing an inch. And every 10 miles she would make me eat oats. Let me tell you something. Sand ain't a reasonable substitute.
Your son is a marvel, Miss Griggs. He's got a real way with children. I don't know when I've ever seen Emily Jane have more fun.
And tomorrow we're gonna be pirates, and I'll be the pirate king, and Sonny can mutiny, and I'll give him 100 lashes. Then he can walk the plank, and then
There'll be no pirate game for you tomorrow, Emily Jane. Your pa will be up here any time now.
I don't want to go home. I don't want to go home.
Stay here.
I want to stay here.
I want to finish reading.
I want to finish being Lone Black Scout and get to the stockade.
Come on, okay.
Come on, old paint. Only another 100 miles,
And then,
and then I'll give you more oats. We know you love oats.
I don't think old paint wants any oats, Emily Jane. I think he wants some of these delicious beans I'm cooking for dinner.
And if you don't stop them shenanigans, there'll be no stopping for you.
But I'm hungry. We traveled a whole 100 miles.
Then just sit quiet for a spell. And Miss Pruitt here will dish you out some beans. I gotta talk some business with Sonny.
What happened down there, Ma? Everything go all right?
Perfect, Sonny, perfect. The whole town was as calm as a pasture full of cows. And that's the truth. But again, there didn't seem to be a soul out looking for the child. Maybe they just haven't missed her yet.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems like a child they definitely miss. Maybe they're just not in any all-fired hurry to get her back.
That don't seem right, Sonny. Her very own pa ought to be scared silly. But I must say, he took a sweet time telling the sheriff. I peeked in the window just to see what he'd do when he read the note, and you know what he did?
No, what?
Well, he looked no more surprised than if it had been a picture postcard from his dear Aunt Mary. And then he stuck it in his pocket and marched into the dining room. And then he sat himself down,
And then what?
and then he ate supper just as pokey as he pleased, dessert and all. And I must have been hiding out in the bushes for what seemed like a whole hour, just waiting for some action. I'm all scratched to pieces. But from hunkering down amongst those rose bushes, but I could see him as anything when he walked out on the porch.
Betty was upset, huh?
Well, a body would have thought. But what he did was, he sat down on the swing and he smoked a whole cigar down to the end. And he didn't move a muscle till he had cleared the whole thing down. After that, he ambled on over to the sheriff's office.
Betty was upset, huh? Wait.
As if he were playing a social call. Must have been near 7 o'clock when he got there.
That's nearly time now, Ma, ain't it? Didn't we fix on 8 o'clock?
Yep, won't be long now, Sonny. We'll just have time to get ourselves a bite to eat. He'll be here any time now.
These beans are delicious, Miss Griggs. You know, I never go over an open fire before. I feel like the fresh air really stimulates the appetite.
Camping out is fun. I wish I could camp out forever.
But you can't, Emily Jane.
But you can't, Emily Jane. Your pa will be here very soon, and I'm sure of it. Now,
You can go home.
you can go home and you can have a nice hot bath.
Bath! I don't want a nice hot bath. I want some more beans. And after that, I want to ride to the stockade. And after that...
Say, these beans sure do hit the spot. Did you use something special with them, Miss Pruitt? Never tasted them so spicy.
Oh, do call me Samantha. And yes, as a matter of fact, I added just a touch of mustard and a wee bit of molasses. Nothing to it, really. I think it's this lovely night air that makes them taste so good. Sometimes I think it must be splendid to live life in the open air and be wild and free and not have to worry about anything.
Well, sometimes it is, sometimes it ain't. We always like to hole up somewhere for the winter. Caves and things can be pretty chilly once the frost comes.
But the summers are real nice. Well, with all the green things growing and the trees waving in the breeze and sunshine all day long.
Why, that's awfully pretty. You said green things growing in the breeze, and the trees waving in the breeze. Really, it's quite poetic. And oh, how it makes me yearn for the simple things of life. Sometimes I wish I could just be a free spirit and not have to worry about things like
Kidnapping? Did you forget we were kidnapped?
Well, I declare, Emily Jane, the whole kidnapping thing did slip my mind. But
I was having such a
good time. But I guess it'll be all over soon.
Right you are, man.
Right you are, ma'am. I hear rustling sound out that way. Be sure he came along and didn't bring nobody. Because if you did, we'll have to run for it.
Hey, let's make a getaway. And then I can play with y'all forever. And tomorrow we can be pirates.
Shh, don't make a sound now, child. We gotta make sure it's your pa, and he's all by himself.
And Mr. Dorset.
Dorset.
Yours.
Not yet. Son, he's alone, Mom.
He's alone, Ma, and he must have brought the money, or else he wouldn't even be here. That you, Mr. Dorset? Right this way, sir. You'll find your child safe and sound.
Aw, shucks, it is Pa. I was hoping it would be the sheriff so we can make a getaway. You know what? I'm not going. I want to stay here. I don't care how much money he gives you. I'm not going.
Oh, yes, you are. And I'm sure Miss Pepper is surely exhausted after putting up with you.
Oh no, Mr. Dorset. It's actually been almost like a vacation. No. Sonny, or this man here, has taken journey. So imaginative.
I guess that's good in his particular line of work.
Oh, he's not a regular kidnapper, Mr. Dorset. This is all just sort of a lark.
This ain't a lark. This is a real kidnapping, and we expect a real ransom. Did you bring the money?
Well, not exactly. I brought what you might call a counter proposition, and if you don't mind, I'll read it.
Well, I've always believed in being fair-minded, but we ain't budging an inch till you can be sure of it.
Hold on to the hostage. Dear Desperados, I have received your note asking for the ransom of for the return of my daughter Emily James, and I feel that your demands are a little high.
Hi, 6 live. Measly $500 ain't nothing. Most kidnappers ask for a lot more than that.
I feel that your demands are a little high. I hereby offer the following counter proposition, which I feel like you will be more than willing to accept. Simply return my daughter to me, pay me $250 in cash, and I agree to take her off your hands.
Well, that don't beat all foolishness. After all the trouble we gone through.
Take it, Ma, take it. I got that much right here in my sock. I was saving up for a gun, but I don't need a gun, so half as much I need some peace and quiet.
There's more. Don't even show your face near the Dorset home again, or I cannot be responsible for what the neighbors will do to you. If they learn that you are the person who saw fit to return Emily Jane to the Boston member community, very yours truly, Ebenezer Dorset S.
They'd murder us for sure, Ma.
No, wicked paleface, no. Paleface will give wampum to enemy chief must die. Red you say no.
Well, now, Mr. Dorset, you seem to be a mighty fair man, and I can see that. And that their counter proposition has a whole lot to recommend it. Only one thing troubles me.
What is that?
Might the child take out after us?
Most likely. Better get a move on.
How much time can you give us?
Well, I'm not as strong as I used to be, so 10 minutes.
All right.
Just stick the money in my back pocket and we have a deal.